Hi everyone, we're live, and this is my first go at this, actually my second go, but the first time it didn't work very well. I'm Clare Harris, and if you're looking at my page, I guess you know I write materials for new learners of English in Australia, but today I'm not talking about my own materials. I want to take a look on my bookshelf and pick a book and talk about that, and of course it's an Australian English language book. So just a moment, here we are. Thank you, Helga, for letting me choose your book. This is Let's Connect, an Australian ESL Grammar Workbook by Helga Burry. So, nice looking book. What I want to do is take a look inside, and that's really for those of you who maybe can't get to a bookshop, would like to have a look at the book, and I'll just go through a few pages so you can see what it looks like. And just a moment now, this is live, there's no editing. I'm just going to try to reverse the camera, so we're going to get to actually see the book itself. So just a moment. Having a go with this. I'm having a little trouble here, and I'm not sure why. Oh dear. Yes, here we are. And here's the book. Excellent. So you can see it's a rather lovely looking book. It's spiral bound, opens very nicely, and it has sections which are divided up with rather lovely pictures of students that learners will identify with. And in the back, you can see Helga describes this book as post-beginner, and I think that's a really accurate description. You could certainly use bits of it with beginners, with good beginners, and you could certainly use it with those intermediate learners who just haven't picked up the, especially the tenses, because that's what this focuses on. But yeah, I'd say post-beginner is a good description. So let's take a look inside. So you can see from here the contents page. So this is actually book 1. I didn't mention that. Book 2 is on the way. So you can see it's covering parts of speech, simple present, simple past, and the present and past continuous. That is it. That's in a whole book. So you can imagine that there's plenty of time spent on each different area, and that it's a pretty spacious kind of book. So rather different from some books where everything has to go in one book. This is very much intended as a book where it's scaffolded, it's step by step. I'll just show you a few pages now. So for example, we're going from everyday activities to filling in the expressions, to filling in the missing words, the correct verb, and then do we need another word, or the, and then the usual mistakes that learners can make. Can you write the sentence correctly? Okay, so these are rather familiar errors for me. Okay, let's go on and look at simple present, and you'll see the chart, fairly standard, but what you'll notice is there's only the positive sentences, no negatives here, no questions, and looking at the spelling for the S or ES, and also the pronunciation. Listening to the CD and actually listening to the sound, the N sound. Filling in, that's probably fairly familiar, but we're also looking at prepositions as well as the actual present tense. So this is quite important in this book. There's a lot of focus on sentence structure, developing sentence structure. So just going through, there's a CD in the back, and the story is on the CD, and there are exercises and more exercises. Okay, create a comma or an, okay, actually developing the sentence structure, moving on to adverbs. So you can see how it works very, very much step by step. Now we've reached the point of questions, okay? Now we've reached negative sentences. So it's moving through at a pretty, I won't say a slow rate, but it's a very much a step by step rate. Okay, and finally a crossword before we go to have, got, and then on to the simple past, which comes next before the continuous tenses. So I was going to look at page 37. Let's have a look at this. So you can see again with the past tense, it's very similar in moving through the structure, how to form the past tense, and then examples of using it, but also things like the prepositions again, collocations, what words go together. So it's, and then there's some write the story again, change to past tense, just step by step. Now we're moving on to irregular. So page 46, another one I wanted to show you. Well, sorry, move it backwards. This is live. I don't have much chance to make changes here. No editing allowed. Where's page 65? Okay, now I was going to play the audio, but I'm not going to play that now because it's a little tricky. I've got to reach across the room. Let me read it for you. You can see this is a very classic conversation. This is an Australian book, but it's not Australian in that it's full of koalas and kangaroos, maybe a few, but it's more about the kind of language, the very, I love everyday domestic language that's used. And Helga says in the front of the book, she wants students to be able to focus on the structures, not on the language, because the language should already be familiar. Hello. Hi, Mum, it's Anna. Oh, hello, Anna. How are you? Not too bad. I tried to ring you today, but you were never at home. Yes, I was really busy. When did you ring me? At 8:15. What were you doing? A shower. Then I rang you at 11:20. In the city, etc. And so it goes on. That's a fairly familiar conversation for those of us who've had mums who are more busy than we were, or are. That's the type of conversation where students are listening, and then there's a review and answers at the back of the book, of course, spelling and a review of the tenses. So I hope that's given you a little bit of a picture of what you'll get if you should get this book. And there's also an interview with Helga on my website, which I'll give you the link to that, and I'll also give you a link to places that you can get this book if you should want it. I hope that has given you a bit of an idea about what's inside Let's Connect. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope to be sharing more books from my bookshelf again soon. Okay, thank you. Bye.